Hello and welcome to Analysis with me, Oyi Adekunle. Now, one of the sad realities of the COVID-19 pandemic is that job losses are inevitable. And in the case of Nigeria, the pandemic is only worsening an existing bad situation. The Economic Sustainability Committee of the government, chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, projects unemployment rate to rise to 33.6%, which is about 39.4 million job losses by December due to the pandemic. And recently, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs announced that over 4 million people applied for the 2020 Npower Batch C recruitment, and that's about 11,700 applications submitted every hour. And according to the ministry, only 400,000 applicants will be absorbed into the scheme at the end of the recruitment. Well, joining me now to discuss more on this is Seun Olubuide, an economist and financial analyst. Thank you very much, Mr. Olubuide, for speaking to us on the program.
Yeah, thank you, Oyi.
First off, what do you make of this situation?
Okay, so the situation, it's a kind of a catastrophe because it's such a ripple effect of what COVID-19 has impacted on our economy. And I hope you know it's not only in Nigeria, but our case is just peculiar. Even before now, we've had our population to be comprised of 60%, like 64 million youth. And now that we are faced with this COVID-19 impact, I will tell you that the unemployment rate has really gone up than what it used to be. And this is why I feel, okay, let me just move to that end power that you mentioned. And that is why you see that the end power thing is really high up there because so many people already lost their jobs, and people that were still working, maybe skeletal operations even before now the companies are not able to even fund the salaries. So they are asked, they've asked them to leave. So now you saw the rise. You can imagine how like 4.5 million applicants, applying for a volunteering job. Empower is not a full job. I hope you know it's not a full job. It's just like a stipend, paid job. So you can see how far we've gone, and I think it's because as a country we've kind of failed, to place our priorities well. We're talking about empower. Empower is not supposed to be focused on graduates. I don't have to be. I don't have to graduate from universities or from polytechnic for me to be able to go into skill acquisition. I was talking on a program on a TV, and I said one of the ways we can curb this unemployment rate is to raise youth, to raise them from secondary school. So, for example, we have, if we place a program like skill acquisition program, and we have skill acquisition centers, immediately you graduate from secondary school, just like a vocational schools. I know, I still remember, years back, we used to have these vocational centers. You can go in there, enroll for maybe 2 years or 12 months, to gather, to acquire skills. And those skills will help you to form your dream job or your dream career by the time you are going into the university. So you don't have to go into the university aimlessly. And that is what you've seen. If so, now we have people, like jostling for this volunteering job at this time. After I'm sure most of these guys are already working. They were working before. Some of them will have had maybe 5 years work experience, 10 years work experience, but because of the ripple effect. I feel it's just the ripple effect of how we've placed our priorities in this country.
So,
Yeah.
it's not the first time that we're witnessing cases of government parastatals being overwhelmed by applications. But are you
Exactly.
worried that the trend could get worse?
I am worried that it will get worse. It will. It will get worse.
Mm.
If the government, if we are not able to do something to that right at this moment, to focus on whatever it is important for us to do right now, it will get worse.
And
It
then you know
will.
that with unemployment comes poverty and hunger, of course. And as of May,
Exactly.
Nigeria's inflation rate rose to 12.40%, and food
Yes.
inflation rose by 15.04. Now, you don't have a job, the price of food items is increasing, and so on. What role
Yeah.
do you think this will play in the livelihood of Nigerians?
Oh, okay. So, if, for example, let's take this for an instance. If someone who had been working, the earning power, was there, and now the person doesn't have that earning power, so no income is coming in. You know that we, as human beings, we have our yield points are really different. So what I can tolerate is different. The level I can tolerate or I can persevere will be different from the level you can. And that is why you see there will be rise in criminal activities.
Mm.
It will cause that rise in criminal activities, and that's a security threat to the nation. And already we are battling we are battling with security, insurgencies and all that. And this will keep adding up, to the
Mm.
security issues that we'll have in this country.
I mean, the government says it's doing a lot of intervention, particularly for local food production now, and incentive for farmers. We know that the CBN banned forex for maize importation today. And in addition, we've also seen that we've kind of formed this notion that if it is not a government job, or if it is not a job I'm doing in the office, like, it's just something that many Nigerians have. And like you said, we should be exploiting vocational skills at this time. So how do we begin to incorporate this, knowing that a lot of people would not really want to go into vocational work?
Okay, so now it's kind of more lucrative now. The reason why I said lucrative is, okay, maybe before, for a few years before now, I don't know if you will notice that we don't really have apprenticeship, the way we used to have them. Like before now, you see people maybe after their secondary school education, they go in for apprenticeship in a fashion house, and I'm saying in a tailoring house. They go into mechanical workshops, to learn the practical aspect of mechanical engineering. But the rate at which that is happening, it has gone down. So now it's kind of lucrative now, because now we are in the fourth industrial revolution. And it's all the major thing right now is to acquire skills, and those skills are, they are such a skill that, yeah, if I don't want to get my hand dirty, like, oh, I don't want to work in a mechanical workshop, I just need to know, to be computer literate, right? And maybe learn graphic designing, it's based on, right now, it's based on, let me say, information technology. So it's kind of lucrative, and I feel the government should please invest more on this. Like, I think few days ago, I was on a TV program, and we were talking about the educational sector right now, because we are losing academic session as it is right now. So I said we had few months before now that maybe government should have put procedures in place and looked at all these rural areas that not everybody, not every parent can afford data, can afford laptop for each child. So can't we invest in technology, like just let's put structures in all these rural areas where we know that all these pupils or students, they are not able to afford data or afford smartphones. Let's put centers there, like a learning center. So that's like the center, each center will broadcast the online coaching or online lesson for for this set of people. It's just priority, setting priority, right?
All right, Mr. Olubuide, let's take a break here. And when we return, we'll still be talking about COVID-19 pandemic and the economy generally.
On Digi 360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent.
Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that band.
Digi 360, providing clarity to issues.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of Constitution. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back, and you're still watching Analysis on TV 360 Nigeria. I still have my guest, Mr. Seun Olubuide, an economist and financial analyst. We've been speaking about COVID-19 job losses and the Nigerian economy. Now, Mr. Olubuide, a lot of government's action plan in terms of easing the COVID-19 lockdown has been based on economic reasons. And as we speak, domestic flights have commenced operation. The financial sector has also been fully reopened for about a month now, I believe. Now, take us through the kind of backing, or should I say strength now, that this will provide for the country's economy.
Okay, yeah, I commend federal government for at least at this time to ease the lockdown at this point, to enable such operations. Yeah, so now because of this new development, allowing domestic flights, and I think the international flights too will come up. I feel it will improve the economy. Yes, it will improve the economy because before, if I don't have, even if I have something to do in Abuja, that will fetch me legal tender, or of course it will fetch me legal tender and fetch the other party legal tender. I was not able to go because of the lockdown. But now that the domestic flight is available, sure, it's going to be like a symbiosis operation. So we both benefit, and it improves the economy anyway. So it's going to improve the economy gradually, gradually. And I hope. I'm sorry, and I hope federal governments will look out on the or improve. I don't know how they're going to do it because now for a few weeks now, if not up to a month, you can't do international remittances, through the banks. And that's another angle I feel we should, the government should please improve on because if you want to push out cash, for example, if you don't have a DOM account and you want to push out cash to international, countries, you are not able to do it right now, and that's another angle to the economy. Yeah.
And let's look at some of what the government has been doing to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on businesses and individuals. You're aware of the 2.3 trillion naira stimulus package of the Economic Sustainability Committee, and then there's the 774,000 jobs recruitment exercise and so on. What kind of intervention are you looking to see for the private sector and particularly small businesses? Because I know you work with SMEs a lot.
Oh, okay. So SME in Nigeria, they're responsible for like 96% of businesses, and that's can account for like 84% of jobs, in Nigeria. So SME is a strong pillar in Nigerian economy, and I feel there should be a way, like you mentioned, the money, the fund that was put down for SMEs. I'm not sure. I don't know, but I'm not sure if it was rightly distributed. I'm not sure if it was rightly distributed. If it was, then we should look out for a positive improvement, maybe in
But
the
if you
next.
say it was not rightly distributed, what do you mean by that? I would like you to just speak
Oh,
more on that. Where were you
okay.
expecting the money to be disbursed that you didn't see?
Okay, so for example, if we are going to distribute such fund, there should be a plan already, from the companies, and now our focus should be on the manufacturing industry, and health industry, agricultural industry. Let's look internally. Let's develop the economy internally, because right now we have, this pandemic has. Let's make good use of this pandemic period and develop our economy internally. And those are the industries I feel we should focus on. If you focus on manufacturing, agricultural, and health sector, yes, the improvements will be the return on the investment, because I see that as an investment from the government. It will really improve the economy. So because if we invest in manufacturing, that means we have the tendency to employ more people, to have more manpowers, in the industry. If we invest more in the agricultural sector, we will attract more people, more, let me say, more jobless people, into that sector, and that will occupy people, and it will really improve the economy. If we improve more in the health sector, that means we won't have. Okay, we will have reduced the health vacation or medical vacation. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand you.
Yes.
That will be travels seeking medical treatment abroad.
Exactly. So we have, it's like we are rebuilding our ecosystem, the financial ecosystem. So the money revolves in here, in the country. And what that does is it improves the economy. We are not, splashing money outside. We are not moving money outside.
So what is ours remain within our own country. That's what
Exactly.
And lastly, before I let you go, we've seen several economic projections. I mean, projections of economic contraction and all. How bad do you think things will get before it gets better?
Okay, so I was talking to someone yesterday, and I said we were projecting maybe things will get bad, till maybe September, this year. But yesterday, we got to realize that it might get bad till December this year, and that means let's look out for first quarter before end of first quarter next year.
And are there any
Yeah.
specific reasons why you think it would take this long?
Okay, so now this is I think this is third quarter, right? So now normally third quarter, is usually the quarter when most companies, they try to, wind down, they wind down and review whatever has happened, from January. They run they program their retreat and program, whatever projections they have for the next year. So you will see that in the fourth quarter, there's hardly no too much activities. So, and that is why we projected that before things will kick off, at least the stability point, it might get to maybe first quarter, before the end of first quarter next year.
Well, Mr. Sheolugwide, thank you very much for speaking to us on analysis.
Yeah, thank you for having me once again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's the much we can take on this episode. We thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.